What's up everyone? I'm Sam, and today I have some questions for you as we look at dealing with negativity. First of all, I'm going to ask you all a few questions and give you time to think about your answers. If you just look to the right, we have a nice little negativity and positivity scale here. I'd like you to give everything I ask a rating between 0 and 10, where 10 is the most positive you could feel about something, and 0 is more of a negative feeling. Okay. Question number 1. First part. You are out on a normal day and find £100 which you get to keep. How positive is this? I'm going to let you think about that and come up with a number between 0 and 10. I'm going to have a little pause now before I move on to the next question so you can all think about your answer. Part 2. When you get home, you find that £80 of the money isn't real. So you haven't found as much as you thought you had. Now can you give me a rating of how positive or negative your thoughts are in this situation? And part 3. A week later our luck is back, and while we're out we find £20 of completely real money. Take a second and give me a positivity rating on the scale. Okay, question 2. Part 1. The same premise, but different questions this time. You have an interview for a job, but you only have a 40% chance of getting the role. How positive is this? Second part. You know the drill by now. You also want to apply for another job opportunity, but think there's only a 20% chance that you'll even get an interview. How positive is this? And lastly, there is a third job that you have almost no chance of getting. How likely are you to apply? And we can use the positivity scale from 0 to 10 to just give an indication of how likely you are to apply for that job. Okay, so we've answered both of the questions. We've got some ideas. Now we're going to have a look at some of the answers. First, with a quick recap, the first question we had a look at: you are out on a normal day and find £100 which you get to keep. But when we get home, we find that 80% of the money we found isn't real. And then a week later, we have also found £20 that is real. So I'm sure you've got different levels of positivity for each of the results. But here's the key thing. There's actually no difference between the two things that happened. On both days we found £20. It's just on the first day we thought we'd found more, but we didn't. The only difference is the order that the events happened in. Both days we found exactly the same amount of money, but we feel completely different about that. Even though on both days we started the day with £20 less and ended the day with £20 more. The only difference between those of us who had a better or worse day that day was the role that our own negative thoughts played. Why is this? Let's have a look. Dealing with randomness. As humans, we are very bad at interpreting randomness. One good example of this is with Apple iPods. Apple had to actually change their iPhone Shuffle to something that wasn't random. Many of us complained to them that their random shuffle was broken because we kept hearing songs that were too close together in our playlist. And now when we hit shuffle, we actually are not given a random, but a fake random that's more appealing to us. It's things like this that mean we need to consistently question our own negative thoughts in a situation. We can be grateful for the things that we do have rather than sad about the things that we don't. And realizing this can give us happier lives without any changes at all. Okay, so on to question 2. Let's just have a quick recap. Question 2. You have an interview for a job but you only have a 40% chance of getting the role. How positive is this? You also want to apply for another job opportunity, but we think there's only a 20% of chance we're going to get this interview. And there's also a third job that we kind of have no chance of getting. How likely are we to apply for that one? So I'm sure we've got different answers for every level and stage here, but let's have a look at some of the results. Oh my god, not a maths lesson.
No, God!
Don't worry, it's not. It's important to realise the result of a job application is binary. We either A, get the job, or B, we don't get the job. When we realise this, it becomes clear that the answer to all of the questions is to feel positive about applying, no matter what the percentage chance we have. We already don't have the job, so if negative thinking stops us from applying, we can never win. We can only stay the same. The only chance we have of winning is to apply. A small amount of maths, sorry, apologies. It's important to look at how negative our thoughts can be in different situations. For example, if 10 people of equal ability all apply for a job, each has around a 10% chance of getting it. I'm sure most of us would actually consider that a really low chance. We should recognise that if we're something like 40% to get a job, we're probably the favourite and should not consider this a negative in any way at all. It should be really positive. In life, a lot of things don't happen that were over 50% to happen. We should recognise that a high percentage chance isn't 100%. Only 100% can be certain. And because of that, we should just keep continuing to try again. How to improve. So what does the boring math you just sat through mean? Means that if we're 20% chance to succeed in a job interview, we need a statistical average of around 8 interviews before we get a job. This is a positive thing. But if we remain negative and apply for no jobs at all, our success rate will be 0% all of the time. Negative thinking literally costs us everything. This would mean you would need an average of infinity job interviews, and you still wouldn't get a job.
Well, gentlemen, I've never seen two people share a resume before.
Well, we thought we'd save paper. You know, go green.
Work experience, Patty's Pub management, and duties that include ordering supplies and taking care of business.
TCOB.
Business coordinator for several years. I don't know who this is.
Coordinator.
Okay. For several years, I've been in complete charge of pretty much everything in my life.
I don't miss a beat.
We have to consider the advantages of failing. When we fail, we get better at a task like being interviewed. And this provides us a chance to be even more successful in the future when we learn from this and improve because of it. All we're trying to do is increase our percent chance of winning that time and then play for infinite times. If I can give you a real life example that I went through recently, my sister wanted a job. It was way above her pay grade. She didn't think she was even allowed to have an interview for the job. But after a lot of talking and persuading her to just apply because she currently doesn't have an interview for the job, so what has she got to lose? She got an interview. And on the day of the interview, she was so scared and so sure she wouldn't get the job, she almost didn't go. And I sat with her literally 30 minutes before the interview was supposed to start, and I told her the same things that I'm telling you now. And luckily she went to the interview, and yes, she got the job. And nothing I did helped to get the job. That was all her skill. But it was impossible for her to get the job if she didn't go. And this is the big thing to take away. This is where it's really important to not let negative thinking control our actions. Takeaway summary. So positive thinking isn't magic. We don't become positive just because we want to be. It happens because things get better. When two boxers face off in the ring, both of them are thinking really positive. They both believe they're going to win, but only one can. This doesn't mean that they should have been negative. But it also doesn't mean that positive thinking changes everything. The winner of that match will be the person who worked hardest, got in the best shape, and had the superior skill. But negative thinking can clearly stop things from getting better. Today we've looked at some techniques that can be applied broadly to give things the best chance of getting better. Putting these things into practice can help us all live happier lives. Thanks for listening. All the best. Sam.